3 men have been handed down lengthy prison sentences in a case that sent a chill through New York City. These sentences mark a grim conclusion to a series of predatory crimes. The men were convicted for their roles in a pattern of murders, drugging, and robbery. Their actions targeted vulnerable individuals. The victims were men specifically lured from New York City gay bars. They were sought out in places meant for community and connection. The scope of the crimes was extensive and horrifying. It included charges of murder, robbery, and conspiracy. This case deeply shocked the New York City community. It exposed a dark underbelly of calculated violence and exploitation. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Among the deceased were 2 men whose lives were tragically cut short. Their stories are central to understanding the gravity of these crimes. Julio Ramirez was one of the victims who perished. He was only 25 years old at the time of his death. Julio worked as a social worker. His profession reflected a life dedicated to helping others, a stark contrast to how his life ended. His death occurred in 2022. It was part of the disturbing pattern that emerged that year. The method of attack was insidious. He was drugged. This was the perpetrator's primary weapon. A specific drug mentioned in connection with his death was fentanyl. This powerful opioid turned a night out into a fatal encounter. The tragic outcome for Julio was being left for dead. He was found in a taxi, a final, desolate scene. John Umberger was the other known deceased victim. He was 33 years old. His death also occurred in 2022. It followed the same chilling modus operandi. Like Julio, John was drugged. This rendered him helpless against his attackers. The outcome for John was robbery and abandonment. He was left in his own apartment after being violated. He was found dead in his Manhattan apartment. This discovery was made in June 2022, confirming another loss. Beyond those who died, there were other victims. These individuals were also targeted by the group. Crimes against them included being drugged and robbed. They suffered similar violations, but survived. These other victims survived on separate occasions. Their survival highlights the deadly gamble the perpetrators were taking with human lives each time. 3 men were ultimately convicted and sentenced in connection with these crimes. Their identities are now linked to this dark chapter. The identified individuals are Jaquan Hamilton, Robert DeMeo, and Jacob Barroso. They acted together in this criminal enterprise. Jaquan Hamilton is 37 years old. He received one of the most severe sentences. Robert DeMeo is 36 years old. He also faced the highest level of accountability. Jacob Barroso is 32 years old. His sentence reflects his specific involvement in the conspiracy. The perpetrators followed a disturbing pattern of behavior. They specifically targeted men outside gay bars. The primary location for this targeting was the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood in Manhattan. This area, known for its vibrant nightlife, became a hunting ground. Their initial contact involved befriending victims. They would approach men, often appearing friendly or interested. The primary method used was drugging victims. This was done covertly, incapacitating the targets quickly and effectively. Subsequent action involved stealing victims' money and possessions. Once the victims were helpless, they were robbed of valuables. Financial exploitation was a key motive. The perpetrators would use victims' financial accounts, draining them of funds. Items purchased with the stolen money included clothes and sneakers. This detail underscores the callous, mundane nature of their motive behind the deadly attacks. A legal process culminated in significant convictions. The justice system responded to the severity of the crimes. Hamilton, DeMeo, and Barroso were all convicted of murder, robbery, and conspiracy in Ramirez's death. This held them accountable for the fatal outcome. Hamilton and DeMeo were also convicted in Umberger's murder. Their direct involvement in both deaths resulted in harsher penalties. The sentencing phase delivered the consequences for their actions. The court determined their fate. Hamilton and DeMeo were sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. This ensures they will spend a vast majority, if not all, of their remaining lives incarcerated. Barroso was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. His sentence reflects his role in the conspiracy that led to Ramirez's death. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg commented on the case's outcome. His statements provided insight into the prosecution's view. He described Ramirez and Umberger as beloved individuals. He emphasized that they had bright futures ahead of them. Bragg stated that the defendants' actions displayed a wanton disregard towards their victims. Their lack of empathy was a key point. He highlighted that the motivation was focused solely on financial gain. This was not a crime of passion, but of cold calculation for money. The district attorney noted the perpetrators never showed concern about the deadly consequences. They proceeded with their plan despite the risk to human life. He expressed hope that the sentences would provide some closure to the loved ones. While justice cannot restore lives, it can offer a sense of finality. The convictions and sentences reflect the severity of these crimes. They send a clear message about the consequences of such predatory behavior. The case demonstrates the justice system's commitment to holding perpetrators accountable. Those who prey on others will face serious repercussions. This case serves as a stark reminder of predatory behavior that exists. It highlights the hidden dangers that can lurk in urban environments. It is a call for vigilance within the community. It highlights the importance of vigilance in protecting vulnerable individuals from harm. The targeting of the gay community adds another layer of concern. It raises questions about safety in spaces meant to be safe havens. The use of potent drugs like fentanyl as a weapon is particularly disturbing. It shows the lengths to which these criminals would go. The fact that there were other victims who survived underscores the pattern. It wasn't an isolated incident, but a repeated tactic. These crimes were not random acts of violence. They were calculated schemes designed for financial exploitation. The perpetrators befriended their victims before attacking. This betrayal of trust makes the crimes even more heinous. The sentences aim to deter others who might consider similar acts. They underscore the severe penalties for such offenses. The impact on the victims' families is immeasurable. They are left to grieve lives stolen under horrific circumstances. The case prompted increased awareness and warnings within the NYC community. It served as a wake-up call about potential dangers. Law enforcement and community groups worked to alert people. They shared information about the pattern of drugging and robbery. The convictions were the result of extensive investigation and prosecution. Bringing these men to justice required significant effort. The legal analysis of the case highlights the complexities of proving intent in drugging deaths. Securing murder convictions required demonstrating the foreseeable risk. The conspiracy charges reflect the coordinated nature of their crimes. This was an organized effort to target and exploit. The case serves as a tragic case study in urban crime. It illustrates how vulnerability can be exploited for profit. Victim advocacy played a role in keeping attention on the case. The voices of the victims and their families were crucial. The sentences ensure that these men will not pose a threat to the public for a very long time. This provides a measure of safety. However, the scars on the community remain. The sense of security in familiar places has been shaken. The dark nature of the crimes, involving drugging and leaving victims to die, is profoundly disturbing. It speaks to a chilling lack of humanity. This cautionary tale reminds everyone to be aware of their surroundings. It emphasizes the need for caution, even in seemingly safe environments. The pursuit of justice in this case was vital. It affirmed that such acts of violence and exploitation will not be tolerated. The memory of Julio Ramirez and John Umberger lives on. Their tragic deaths brought these predators to light and ultimately to justice. The sentences close a legal chapter, but not the emotional one for those affected. The impact of these crimes will be felt for years to come. This case stands as a somber reminder of the darkness that can exist. It urges continued vigilance and community support to prevent future tragedies.